Hey guys, Rex here from the Minetroopers, back for another Minetrooper video. Yay! In the last video I was showing you a little trick I discovered about the magma blocks in Soul Sand, which can allow you to make a multi-story elevator. Well, I managed to complete a version of it that's for 4 stories. Of course it's expandable to any number of stories you like, as long as you have the repeaters to do it. The reason I have 2 of them is to show that it isn't just limited to 1 by 1. It can go up to 2 by 2, as you can see, and it will still work just fine. So also, you may be wondering why I have it at oddly numbered floors. Well, this is to show you that the size of the floor that you want it to be can be of any size that you want. But there is a slight downside. The buttons can only be in multiples of 2 above each other. So say this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it can only be 2, 4, 6 or 8 blocks above it. Any multiple of 2. Up again is 4 blocks and another 4 blocks. So as long as you get this right, you should be good to go. So you also may be wondering why this only has 4 stories but I have 5 buttons. Well, there's a good reason for this. I discovered a slight flaw in the multi-storey water elevator, but easily fixable. Say you place the magma block between the 3rd and 4th floors. Anyone above the magma block will be dragged down to the 4th, but anyone below the magma block would only be pushed up to the 3rd. So I created 5 buttons to make such a thing work. So this button drags people down to the 1st, this one up to the 2nd and down to the down to the 1st, down to the 2nd and up to the 1st, down to the 3rd and up to the 2nd, down to the 4th and up to the 3rd, and up to the 4th. So let me show you. Currently it's in up to the 4th. So say if I was to stand on the 1st, 2nd or 3rd floors, I'd be dragged up to here, as you can see. Say I want to go down to 2nd. I press this button. I do it a while for the bubbles to react, and I'd be dragged down to the 2nd floor. And say I want to be dragged up to the 3rd. I press this button. Not the first button, that one over there. So then I walk up, and now I'm on the 3rd floor, as you can see. And say I want to reset the whole thing so it only goes back up to the 4th. I'll just press the button and the cycle repeats again. Also, it has the same mechanics on this version. So say I want to go up to the 2nd. I press that button, wait a while, and on my merry way. As you can see, it works perfectly. Then I want to go back down to the 1st, because why not? I'll be dragged down. See? And then of course everything works, as you can see, yada yada yada. So yeah, the iron doors are not compulsory. For all I know, you could just use trapdoors or ladders or whatever tickles your fancy. For me, I'm using iron doors because, well, it's less likely for someone to shut the elevator doors, right? Okay, so today I shall be showing you guys a tutorial on this build. Also, it seems to be the first of its kind in the world, so I guess that's a plus. So yeah, let's get on with the tutorial. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Before going on to the tutorial, I ought to show you guys what you will be dealing with. So this is the build. Do not freak out. There is a perfectly logical explanation for this. It is not actually as complicated as it looks. Here, let me show you an example of what it actually is. Alright, here's a much simplified design. So say the these red rows in this direction are the different floors, and these are just the iron blocks are connections, and the 16 redstone are buttons. So as you can see, the one on the leftmost is all connected since they will be doing the exact same thing. So then it will go down to the different mechanisms. For each red one, it means that it would turn the redstone signal off, and then it would turn this one on. On the second one, it will turn everything off except the second floor. The third one, everything off except the third. And the fourth one, everything off except the fourth one. The fifth row, however, is slightly different. Basically, it does not activate anything. Instead, it shuts all of them down. So then you have this final row of buttons to reset the entire mechanism, allowing you to go all the way to the top of the build. So yeah, that's a relatively simplified version of the explanation. It's very simple. The problem is I made it vertical. So yeah, that's a big problem there. But anyways, you aren't watching this video to listen to my rant. So anyways, off with the actual tutorial. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, I will not be doing the 2x2 tutorial today, since the 2x2 is basically the 1x1, just that I expanded the water column. So in order to calculate the space you're going to need a bit of algebra from math. So basically that just replaces numbers with letters. Since the number of floors is going to vary each time you make it. Just hear me out. It's going to be rather simple. So the width is always going to be 6 blocks, where this is the wall, and this particular row is only for this particular block. Nothing else will be used over there. Meanwhile, the length will be 3 blocks plus 2 times the number of buttons you have on the floor. So say I have 4 floors, I'll have 1 more button than there are floors, so that makes 5 buttons per floor. 5 times 2 is 10, and then 10 plus 3 is 13. So say you wanted to make a 6 block, 6 times 2 is 12, 12 plus 3 is 15. So you'll have a 15 by 6, if that is the case. I think I did that right. No, sorry. 6 plus 1 is 7, 7 times 2 is 14, and 14 plus 3 is 17, so you have a 6 by 17. 6 by 15 is for a 5-story tall. Anyways, this is going to be the ground floor. The golden blocks represent the columns that will be supporting the water, and the diamond represents the water. For the blocks you're going to need 4 sticky pistons. This is for a 4-story build. So I'm going to need 1 sticky piston per floor. 20 buttons, because 20 is 4 times 5, and 5 is 4 plus 1. So basically I have 4 floors, so 4 times 4 plus 1. I'll have the same number of repeaters as buttons, and then I estimate about a stack of glass for me, because I have 5 columns of glass, and each column is about 12 blocks tall. You may want to double this if you're making bigger and better machines. I calculated the amount of redstone I have. So since there's a stack of glass, there's going to be a stack of redstone on top of that. Then I calculated about 15 to 30 redstone per floor. So that leaves me about 2 to 3 stacks. You may want to save about 7 stacks of redstone on the standby if you're building much bigger builds. So then 2 times 4 would be 8 droppers. So you have twice as many droppers as sticky pistons. 4 comparators. 4 useless items that you're willing to put in that dropper. 4 magma blocks. But for no matter what height you're going to have, you're only going to need 1 soul sand every time. You'll need 4 block stoppers to prevent the water from flowing out on each level. and you'll need one water source block. I'll show you why later, and of course a block of your choice. So starting off, I am going to take out my soul sand and quickly use it to replace the diamond block. So it should be like this. Good. Then I'm going to place a magma block here and some glass. Taking out my door, I shall place the door facing like this, so I can always walk in easily. Following this, I shall place 2 tall glass, like so. My block of choice shall be used to make a wall. As you can see, the shape is forming quite nicely. By the way, each floor is only going to be about 2 blocks tall for size. Also, you're going to need many more repeaters if you make multiple floors, since you're going to have to renew the redstone signal across the floors. So of course, starting from the rightmost, I place 5 buttons. Behind each button, you're going to have to place a piece of glass, and then on which I shall place the redstone dust. In particular, on this block, I shall place a dropper facing here and a dropper facing there. Since you have to power this dropper to turn it on, and you're going to power this to turn it off, I'm going to show you. So take out your comparators, of course, and place them here. Run into a block, and of course, this is where your sticky piston comes in. So it should look like this. Take one of your items and place it in the unpowered dropper. Then you are going to place a block of your choice here, followed by a redstone dust. To power this, we are going to place a block of your choice, followed by running up, and then 2 across. Then when it's in line with the very next one, bring it back 1, and then extend it across. As you can see. Then you are going to make a sort of tiny branch outs like this. Also, it just came to my attention that this does not have to be glass. It can be a block of your choice as well. So yeah, once you have corrected that error, you can place redstone like so, running upwards. And then take a repeater and place 1 on each of the 4. And then extend it. By the way, this build, if I have not mentioned already, this build is going to use 18 repeaters instead of 20. The extra 2 is just in case you run out of space. So yes, the first floor is done. If I press the first button, it should go on. But if I press any of the other 4, it shall deactivate the piston. Okay, on to the next floor. So we're going to start off by placing this here. And then don't forget another piece of magma block, followed by a sticky piston. Very simplistic. I'm just going to extend the floor, as you can see, and then we would have the second floor. Whoa! It's amazing. Okay, now that you have this, place your iron door, of course, to stop the blocks. Then you are going to place your glass on top of this. Of course, you're going to need to place glass here instead. So do something like this across the blocks. So you should end up with something looking like this, very similar to the first floor. Then to extend this thing across, place the 2 blocks. Many of these is going to be quite tedious, so bear with me. So I place my blocks here, as you can see, and then we are going to continue extending this upwards. As you can already tell, instead of placing the buttons on the bottom half, we are going to be placing them on the top half. So if I were to take out my buttons, like I am doing now, I will only place them up here, meaning that you will have to cipher around. So yes, it shall look like this. In using this, I shall connect up the second piston. So first, I'm working backwards from my memory. I am going to do something like this, where I place a comparator here, like so. As I said, two droppers facing into one another. Of course, take one of your items and place it inside here. We're going to make a similar V shape, just to show you that many of this is repeated. So yes, to make things cheaper, take your repeater and place it here. Then it shall run off like this. You're going to start seeing this V shape a lot. It will appear whenever I have to turn off a dropper. So facing this, I shall extend this block of your choice until it goes back here, and then I shall extend it. Then I shall only take this block out, as you can see, and attach a repeater to each one of them. And of course, don't forget the redstone chain. Over here, we are going to place a block on top of the thing, and then place a redstone dust running into it. So yeah, it should look like this. Second floor all complete. Continuing on to the third, we are going to place the magma block and another sticky piston. This is where things get slightly different from usual. So yes, as usual, we are going to place in the third floor. So anyways, now that the third floor has been completed, place in your door, and then place in your glass, and then just place in your blocks. So it should look like this. Of course, take out your buttons and place them like this again. So this is awfully repetitive. Take your glass and place it above, just like this. Be careful not to break the glass you just placed, like I did, because that will be terribly painful for you. Not so much for me though, since I'm in creative. So now that I placed in the glass, to show you, I am going to place the dropper over here, I believe. No, it will be one block below, since it has to be in line with the piston. Then the other dropper should be facing into it, if I can get it just right, as you can see. Just right. Then, of course, make the V shape. This V shape is very important. And As you can see, it will go like this on one side, and just extend the blocks. Extend this one 2 blocks and dip back in. So it should look a lot like a mustache. A very fabulous mustache. A very familiar mustache. So then you're going to place your blocks, as usual, over here. Then this is pretty simple, so yeah, just need to place your block here. Like this. Let's see. Yeah, this couldn't have been done any different. If I can get myself unstuck, you can see that it is working just fine. Oh wait, it isn't. Oh no. So we place the comparator here, which I seem to have. Something has gone wrong. Ah, I see a quick fix to the problem. On the lower floor, a piece of glass can be placed and a redstone dust instead. So something like this. This should fix the accidental problem, and it shouldn't worry too much about your resources. So then we are going to place the block here and a redstone repeater. So assuming everything goes perfectly, if I was to press the button on, say, the first floor, then this magma block will extend. Meanwhile, if I was to press the 4th or 5th, everything would... Okay, another mistake. Don't forget your repeaters. So if I was to press the 5th button, it should retract, as you can see. Very nice. Okay, we're nearly done, so on to the last floor. So as usual, place your glass, place your final magma block of the day, and of course, over here, your glass. And then we're gonna make the final floor. It might also be the final ceiling if you cannot afford a ceiling. So as usual, take out your last iron door and place it like this. Your glass. And then we are just going to place an extra block, since this is going to be the cap of the floor. Then we build the final wall. It's also going to be very small. Now you can see a similar shape to what you saw at the start of the video, where something like this should appear. The buttons can be placed every 2 blocks because of the way the glass shaft works. So as you can see, this 5th button hasn't been turning on any of the droppers. Instead, it's been turning them all off, because this is going to be the reset of the RX NOR latch. So once again, don't forget your glass. Place it above. So it should work just fine. Then you place your redstone dust, and it should also be fine. Just one last glass, just one last one. It doesn't have to go up by any more levels. This should be it. So yes, we now have... Okay, another mistake. We're working on that. Place the blocks. Place the buttons up here to make sure that they're exactly 1 block apart. So it should look like this. Very nice. Of course, don't forget the sticky piston, and also make it face in the right direction. Place a block, since we are going with the trend of blocks, and since this is going to be the last one, that would mean the last two droppers are to be placed here, facing to one another. Take the last of your useless items and place them there. Then, of course, don't forget the V. Place the V like so. So it should look like this. Yes, it should, and it will. So just place your dust here, and it works perfectly. Place your block of your choice in both places, and a redstone dust piece. Bring this up and make it go back in and extend the block. Considering I'm making this video at night, I'm surprisingly awake. So don't forget your blocks, place in here, and your redstone repeaters. Very nice. And to complete the build, just to confirm that everything is wired up nicely, we are going to place the block here. Oh noes, I have made another mistake. So let's see, what can I do to fix it? I seriously did not have to face these troubles when I was building this in the first place. Okay, change of plans. I am going to make a very large detour. I am sorry about this. It normally shouldn't do this, but it seems that I had a slight miscalculation in the way I built this. So until I can fix that, I'm doing a very large detour. So it should look like this. Unfortunately, that is the closest I can get. I am very terribly sorry for this, since this did not happen to me when I was building this in the first place. We interrupt the program for an important announcement. This is Rex from the future, and I think I came up with a solution to this large detour. So first things first, we are going to have to lower this program so that it can... Okay, I lowered the wrong program. We take this and replace it with a block. That should be the first step in solving. The second would be to replace this with a block. And then by extending it through like this, we should theoretically create a stable way to bypass the problem. So we take the comparator and place it here. A block. Don't forget to place that. And then another block. So to triple confirm, this is not going to interfere with any of your builds. So as you can see, I have created a bypass to the problem. And the width is 6 once again. So yes, to triple confirm that this technique works, I am going to press the 4th button. And this should extend, as it has. Press the 5th button, and it retracts. As you can see, everything is working just nicely. Also, just to call your concerns, I shall press the 1st button. And as you can see, drag down to the first. Everything was fine. Okay, now that the announcement is over, back to me from the past. And now that it's all done, if I was to press the final button of the puzzle, this last block will be placed. The third, the bottom, the one lower than that. The second, the one lower than that. The first, the very bottom. And then the moment of truth, the total reset totally resets. Fantastic. Now just place your water button at the top. I discovered a small glitch. This does not seem to work with flowing water, but only water source. But for some reason, when I place water flowing downwards in a column, when it finally reaches the bottom, each of the blocks below the water source also become water source. It does not happen if the column is open, out in the open. So I place my water block, and bubbles should appear. Fantastic. And that is your multi-block story elevator. So down to the first, to the recap, this button is down to the first from any floor. This is down to the second and up to the first. Why would you need an up to the first? I have no idea. And then the most useful, up to the second and then down to the third. Then down to the fourth and up to the third. You also don't need a down to the fourth since you are on the fourth. And then the last one, completely up to the fourth. So this bit is just to show you how fast the elevator can be. Walk in, and in no time at all, I have reached the top floor. As you can see, it's pretty small and pretty fast. So far, this is the multi-story water elevator. Currently, it's only for Bedrock Edition. Since some of the techniques that I used in the build, I am not quite sure if it works in PC. So anyways, yeah. What do you think of this video? Do you think it's useful? Please let me know in the comments below whether I should continue making stuff like this. And I will see you all next time on the Mine Troopers.